Is the cost of Friday Night Magic setting too high as standard? That's one problem you can't call the Gatewatch to fix. Yikes, what a price. No, if you want to play standard for under $100, you're going to need to call in a favor from an old friend. Dragons. The draconic combination of brains and brawn will do more than just burn through your opponent's life totals. It'll burn through the high cost of cash currently dominating standard. Yes, burn away the cost of standard with mighty dragon fire. Boom, boom, take that, Wizards of the Coast. No, our money, our precious, precious money. Ah! Gee, Professor, isn't that actually your money? What do you mean? Well, in this example, it's your money you're destroying. Wizards of the Coast doesn't even profit off the secondary market. Black-Red Budget Dragons is a deck that combines the big threat of dragons with the Thopter subtheme for added flexibility. This is actually part of what puts this deck over the top, as its strategy isn't just to turn your cards sideways, swing, and hope for the best. Cards like Hangarback Walker and Pia and Kiran Nalaar means you'll win by combining both brains and brawn. Hey, just like a dragon! Best of all, the deck can be put together for just under $100. It has room for some awesome upgrades, and look, I'll be honest, it gets points for combining dragons and thopters. Let's take a look. The centerpiece of this deck are the duo of dragons, Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, and Thunderbreak Regent. Regent is currently less than $4 each, so an entire playset is just under $16. That's a great value for a card that puts your opponent on a major clock. And combined with Thunderbreak, the big baddie dragon daddy, Kolaghan, is less than $1 a piece. Wow! Dash him out instead of hard casting to avoid sorcery removal, of which there's actually quite a lot of these days, or just curve into him with Thunderbreak on turn 4 and a dashed Kolaghan to swing for brutal damage turn 5. The deck has a lot of upgrade and replacement options that I'll talk about, but as far as these two playsets are concerned, it's a must-have no matter what. Hangarback Walker is the only costly card other than Regent. You can run a full playset if you have it, but I think you can get away with 3 of. Still, at just about $9 each, it puts a strain on this otherwise budget build. It's worth it though. An early game Hangarback is value that is very hard to beat, giving you a swarm of Thopters when and if it is finally removed. A pair of the pair, Pia and Kiran Nalaar, are the brains of this deck, making great use of these Thopters by shocking your opponent's creatures or just adding an extra flyer for attacks and blocks. And adding further to the Thopter synergy, the clever mind of a Thopter Engineer upgrades all our gadgets to have haste, great with Pia and Kiran and Hangerback. I'd run a full playset of these here. As our 3-drop, a full playset of Flamewake Phoenix is the only budget option, and this is a highly affordable rare. While not quite my beloved Chandra's Phoenix from days of old, the Flamewake still applies immediate pressure and is nothing but a headache for most of our opponents. If you are looking to upgrade, a lot of people will tell you that Kalitas, Trader of Get, works great in this deck, and he does, and if you have or can afford him, by all means go for it. But if you're spending the extra cash for an upgraded deck, I prefer instead to trade out Flamewake for Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Drana is my pick for the fully upgraded deck, as she will have amazing synergy with your Thopters and is only a 3-drop herself. And what would dragons be without a little red lightning? Draconic Roar and Fiery Impulse are great for zapping creatures, and if you've got the dragons to back up Draconic Roar, the ability to bolt your opponent's face as well. Removal is clean and effective. Grasp of Darkness, which can double as a combat trick for creatures over 4 toughness, and Murderous Cut to straight out destroy target creature. Finally, the deck also runs a pair of Duress to handle spells you don't have easy answers for. The mana base here is pretty simple if you are on a budget. Since we're only in 2 colors, we can get away with not running fetch lands. Obviously, if you've got the fetch lands or the cash, yeah, run playsets of Wooded Foothills, Bloodstained Mires, and Polluted Deltas. But that's well over $250 just to give your deck a marginally more efficient mana base. On budget, we'll instead spend our cash on 3 Haven of the Spirit Dragon, a playset of Smoldering Marshes, as well as Evolving Wilds. Beyond that, a lucky 7 of Swamps and lucky 7 of Mountains, and then hope that luck with land guides you through this budget base. As always, if you own any fetch lands at all that grab mountains or swamps, preferably Bloodstained Mires, swap out the Evolving Wilds for them. The sideboard, as always, is highly flexible to your meta. I usually run a playset of Self-Inflicted Wounds and Transgress the Mind when I need to increase my answers and removal. Along those same lines, I am a big fan of both Tainted Remedy and Outpost Siege, and while I prefer to run a pair of each, I have seen many lists that run either one more or one less. Again, sideboards really need fine-tuning to your meta, although Infinite Obliteration is pretty flexible for just about any meta. And when all else fails, read the bones, which is especially useful with our budget mana base. If you want to go outside the budget build, there's a lot of options for the sideboard here, namely Obnixilis, Kolaghan's Command, Kalitas, as I've already mentioned, and Kozilek's Return. They say whenever there's a problem, you can try and solve it just by throwing goblins at it, but I think that the serious cost of Standard requires a bigger threat, and so let's throw a bunch of dragons at that next Friday Night Magic. Yes, the limitless Star Trek universe, and the best they could come up with was water. And, wait for it, food. That's right, the final resource is literally just called food. A box of food. You know, 'cause this is Star Trek. Damn it, Jim, we've got to build 10 more starships so that we can get to the planet that has food.